They insult you. They lie about you. They betray you when you needed them most. And yet you do not flinch. You do not explode. You do not react. Because your mind is trained. A trained mind doesn't chase every thought. It doesn't drown in chaos. It watches. It waits. In a world that wants to provoke you, the calmest man is the most dangerous. This isn't weakness. This is control. Power, precision. When emotions rise and the storm begins, will you be the one who panics or the one who becomes the storm's eye? Train your mind. Rule your world. In just a few moments, you'll learn the secret to training your mind to stay calm in any situation, no matter what. 1. It develops mental mastery. The greatest battlefield you will ever face is not in the world around you, but in the silent chambers of your own mind. When you learn to control your thoughts, you gain the master key to controlling your life. You see, there exists within you a power greater than any obstacle the world can place in your path. It is your ability to remain calm when everything around you is in chaos. The most successful individuals throughout history understood this profound truth. Thomas Edison, who faced over 10,000 failures before creating the electric light bulb, when his laboratory burned to the ground, destroying years of research and irreplaceable notes, what did he do? At age 67, watching his life's work go up in flames, he simply turned to his son and said, "Go get your mother. She'll never see anything like this again." The next morning, surveying the ruins, he declared, "There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start anew." This is the power you possess right now, the ability to face any disaster with a calm mind. When you maintain your mental equilibrium, you see opportunities where others see only problems. Your mind becomes a sanctuary of clarity rather than a prison of panic. Remember, you are where you are because of your mental attitudes. Your circumstances do not determine your state of mind. Your state of mind determines your circumstances. This is the first principle you must embrace to develop unshakable calm in any situation. It develops controlled attention. When faced with overwhelming circumstances, you need a definite method to regain your composure quickly. I call this the principle of controlled attention, and it works because it redirects your mental focus from destructive to constructive thought. The moment you feel tension rising, stop whatever you're doing and implement this principle. First, recognize that your thoughts control your emotions, not the external circumstances. Take several deep breaths to break the pattern of negative thinking that leads to emotional disturbance. Second, ask yourself this pivotal question: what is the one constructive action within my power at this moment? This shifts your focus from the swirling chaos to your circle of influence. President Calvin Coolidge was renowned for his unflappable demeanor during crises that would have rattled most leaders. When asked about his extraordinary composure, he replied, "If you see 10 troubles coming down the road, you can be sure that 9 will run into the ditch before they reach you." He understood that most of what we worry about never materializes. The final step of applying this principle is to take one decisive action, no matter how small. When Andrew Carnegie faced potential financial ruin during the Panic of 1873, he didn't waste energy on worry. Instead, he focused on the single next step he could take. This principle of immediate action dissolves anxiety because it moves you from passive victim to active participant in your circumstances. Remember, your mind cannot simultaneously hold focused action and fearful thoughts. Choose action, and calm will follow naturally. 3. It helps in building your emotional fortress. Your emotional state is not at the mercy of external events. It is a fortress you build day by day, thought by thought. Just as a physical fortress isn't constructed in a moment of crisis but built methodically in times of peace, your emotional resilience must be developed through daily practice. You must understand that emotional mastery isn't about suppressing feelings, but about choosing which emotions you will entertain and which you will dismiss. Helen Keller, who despite being deaf and blind from early childhood, developed such emotional fortitude that she graduated from college with honors and became an internationally recognized author and speaker. When asked about her remarkable achievements in the face of overwhelming obstacles, she said, "I long to accomplish great and noble tasks, but it is my chief duty to accomplish humble tasks as though they were great and noble." Her emotional fortress wasn't built in a single day, but through countless small choices to focus on possibility rather than limitation. You can begin building your emotional fortress today by establishing what I call a mental diet. Just as you would carefully select the food you put into your physical body, you must be vigilant about the thoughts you allow into your mind. Feed your mind stories of triumph over adversity, ideas that expand your sense of what's possible, and perspectives that emphasize solutions rather than problems. When you consistently practice this mental diet, you develop an inner stability that remains unshaken even when your outer world is in turmoil. The construction of your emotional fortress begins with the foundation stones of definite purpose. Every great achiever throughout history has possessed a burning desire that served as an anchor during turbulent times. What is your definite purpose? What goal or mission is so compelling that it can guide your thoughts when circumstances attempt to throw you off course? Without this foundation, your emotional fortress will crumble at the first sign of adversity. The walls of your fortress are built through the habit of controlled thought. This is not an ability you're born with, it is a skill you must practice daily. Begin each morning by determining your emotional intent for the day. Will you allow random circumstances to dictate your mental state, or will you consciously choose the thoughts that serve your highest good? This deliberate approach to your mental life builds emotional resilience over time, just as daily physical exercise builds physical strength. The windows of your fortress, your perspective on the world, must be kept clean and clear. Through what lens do you view your experiences? The great industrialist Charles M. Schwab maintained his composure during financial panics by asking himself, what opportunity lies hidden in this difficulty? This perspective allowed him to see possibilities where others saw only problems. Your own perspective is entirely within your control, regardless of external conditions. The gate of your fortress, what you allow to enter your mind, must be guarded with vigilance. The newspapers, books, conversations, and associations you choose will either strengthen or weaken your emotional state. Thomas Jefferson understood this principle when he wrote, "Nothing can now be believed which is seen in a newspaper." He chose carefully what information he would allow to influence his thinking. You must do the same, especially in moments when your emotional balance is threatened. Within the courtyard of your fortress lies the garden of gratitude. No emotion can survive in the presence of genuine thankfulness. Even in your darkest hour, there remains something for which you can be grateful. When Andrew Carnegie faced potential ruin, he focused not on what he stood to lose, but on what he still possessed: his knowledge, his relationships, and his capacity to begin again. This practice of gratitude becomes a cornerstone of emotional stability. The watchtower of your fortress provides vigilance against destructive thinking. From this vantage point, you must learn to recognize negative thought patterns before they take root. The moment you detect thoughts of worry, fear, or resentment, redirect your mental energy toward constructive alternatives. This is not mere positive thinking, it is strategic deployment of your most valuable resource, your attention. Remember that your emotional fortress is not built for isolation, but for strength. Its purpose is not to shut out the world, but to allow you to engage with life's challenges from a position of inner security. The true measure of your emotional mastery is not the absence of difficulties, but your capacity to remain calm and effective in their presence. Begin today to build your fortress, stone by stone, thought by thought, and you will develop a strength of character that no external circumstance can disturb. 4. It develops emotional support. The path to remarkable achievement and emotional equilibrium cannot be walked alone. Establishing a mastermind alliance, a collaborative circle of supportive individuals, serves as a foundation for personal development and maintaining composure during challenging periods. This strategy has been employed by countless successful figures throughout history, consisting of harmonious partnerships focused on attaining specific objectives, particularly building unwavering mental fortitude. Henry Ford, who despite limited academic credentials, cultivated relationships with exceptional thinkers who enhanced his vision and helped preserve his determination through numerous obstacles. When automotive industry peers ridiculed his Model T concept, this network of encouraging minds helped sustain his resolve. Similarly, your resilience will strengthen dramatically when you thoughtfully select companions who contribute balance, insight, and fortitude to your journey. To establish your emotional support mastermind, begin by identifying at least 3 people who exemplify the mental discipline you wish to cultivate. Connect with them purposefully, requesting regular interaction aimed at collective growth. Practice transparency regarding both struggles and triumphs. Authentic connections forge stronger emotional capabilities, as meaningful relationships provide the environment where personal transformation flourishes. No significant historical accomplishment has emerged from complete isolation, and your quest for unshakable tranquility follows this same principle. The right alliance multiplies individual potential through shared wisdom, constructive feedback, and mutual encouragement. Members of your mastermind should possess diverse perspectives yet share fundamental values aligned with your aspirations. Seek those who demonstrate honesty without harsh judgment, offering careful insights when needed while celebrating progress. These relationships create safe spaces for vulnerability, allowing genuine exploration of challenges that might otherwise remain unaddressed. Regular meetings establish accountability and momentum. Whether weekly discussions, monthly reviews, or quarterly intensive sessions, consistency matters more than frequency. Structure these gatherings around specific topics, personal updates, and collaborative problem solving. This disciplined approach transforms casual friendships into purposeful growth partnerships. The most effective masterminds operate on principles of reciprocity. Each participant both contributes and receives value. As you share difficulties and breakthroughs, others gain perspective from your experiences. This exchange creates bonds strengthened through mutual investment in collective advancement. During particularly turbulent phases, your alliance provides crucial stability. They offer objective assessment when emotions cloud judgment, remind you of past triumphs when doubt emerges, and maintain unwavering belief in your capabilities when self-confidence wavers. Successful mastermind relationships evolve organically over time. Initial connections might focus on professional development before deepening into more comprehensive support systems addressing various life dimensions. Allow this natural progression rather than forcing immediate intimacy. Technology now enables global masterminds unrestricted by geography. Virtual meetings connect complementary minds across continents, expanding potential membership beyond local networks. However, regardless of format, the essential foundation remains trust, commitment, and shared purpose. The journey toward emotional mastery parallels any worthwhile endeavor, requiring deliberate practice, supportive community, and persistent effort. Your carefully cultivated alliance becomes both catalyst and companion throughout this process, accelerating progress while providing necessary encouragement during inevitable setbacks. Begin today by listing potential mastermind candidates, then initiate conversations about forming these intentional connections. The resulting partnerships may become among your most valuable assets in developing unshakable emotional equilibrium and achieving extraordinary success. It transforms your self-talk and reality. The most important conversations you have are not with others but with yourself. Your internal dialogue shapes your perception of reality more powerfully than any external voice. When faced with challenging circumstances, what do you say to yourself? Do you reinforce fear and doubt, or do you speak words of courage and possibility? This is not mere positive thinking. It is the strategic deployment of your most powerful mental resource. The quality of your life is determined not by what happens to you, but by how you interpret what happened. I have studied the minds of over 500 of the most successful individuals, and I can attest that their greatest accomplishment was mastering the conversation within. The thoughts you habitually entertain create the pathways through which all your future thoughts must travel. Theodore Roosevelt, who transformed himself from a sickly, asthmatic child into one of the most vigorous and resilient leaders in American history. How? By consciously reshaping his internal narrative. I am the captain of my soul, he would declare, even when his physical body seemed to contradict this assertion. His mind led and his circumstances followed. Your self-talk creates self-fulfilling prophecies. When you tell yourself this is overwhelming, your mind obediently produces overwhelming emotions. But when you declare, I have overcome challenges before and I will master this one as well, your mind begins generating solutions rather than stress. This principle operates with mathematical certainty. The subconscious mind accepts whatever the conscious mind repeatedly suggests. It makes no distinction between constructive and destructive thought impulses. It works day and night to bring into reality that which you most persistently think about. Herein lies both danger and opportunity. Begin today by auditing your habitual phrases. What do you say to yourself when plans go awry? Create replacement statements that acknowledge reality while emphasizing your capacity to respond effectively. Instead of I can't handle this, try this is difficult, but I'm taking it one step at a time. Instead of everything is falling apart, say I'm being challenged to find a new approach. I have observed that failure comes not from lack of ability, but from destructive mental habits that undermine potential. The mind that habitually dwells on limitation finds itself imprisoned by those very thoughts. Conversely, the mind that focuses on solutions will inevitably discover them. Your words become your reality because they direct your focus, and your focus determines your emotional state. Master your self-talk, and you master your capacity to remain calm regardless of circumstances. This emotional control is the hallmark of leadership and personal power. Remember that your subconscious takes your words literally. When you say I am tired, you become more tired. When you say I am energized by this challenge, your body responds accordingly. Choose your words with the same care a pharmacist uses when filling prescriptions, for they have similar potency. The greatest discovery of my research is this: you can alter the course of your life by altering your habitual thoughts and speech pattern. This power is immediately available to you, requiring no external permission or resources. It is the one true democracy. Every mind has equal opportunity to create its dominant thoughts. Begin this practice today and observe the transformation. Your circumstances may not change immediately, but your experience of them will shift dramatically. In time, even the most stubborn external conditions must reshape themselves to match your persistent internal dialogue. Master your thoughts, master your words, and you master your destiny. It develops your deliberate response method. Between stimulus and response lies a space. In that space is your power to choose your reaction. In your choice lies your growth and freedom. While most people react automatically to challenging situations, allowing their primitive brain to hijack their higher faculties, you can train yourself to respond deliberately rather than react impulsively. This distinction between reaction and response marks the difference between those who are controlled by circumstances and those who maintain their composure regardless of external conditions. Abraham Lincoln, who was known for writing hot letters when provoked by incompetence or betrayal, he would express his anger fully in writing and then put the letter in a drawer drawer, never to be sent. When asked about this curious habit, he explained that the process allowed him to discharge the emotional energy without creating consequences he would later regret. Mr. Lincoln intuitively understood the principle of the deliberate response method: acknowledge your initial emotional reaction privately, but choose your public response carefully. Our brains are wired for quick reactions, a survival mechanism from our evolutionary past. When faced with a threat, the amygdala triggers our fight or flight response before our rational prefrontal cortex can fully process the situation. This biological reality explains why we often react in ways we later regret. The good news is that we can rewire these patterns through conscious practice. The space between stimulus and response isn't fixed. It can be expanded. Each time you pause before reacting, you strengthen neural pathways that support thoughtful responses over impulsive reactions. This practice creates a virtuous cycle. More pause leads to better responses, which leads to better outcomes, which reinforces the value of pausing. You can implement the deliberate response method today by adopting a simple practice. When faced with a triggering situation, silently count to 10 before speaking or taking action. During those 10 seconds, ask yourself, will my natural reaction serve my highest goals? If not, choose a response that aligns with the person you aspire to be rather than the emotion you happen to feel in the moment. The benefits of mastering this skill extend far beyond avoiding regrettable outbursts. Research shows that people with greater emotional regulation enjoy better relationships, lower stress levels, improved decision-making, and even longer lives. By creating space between stimulus and response, you're literally rewiring your brain for greater well-being. In professional settings, this practice becomes particularly valuable. Leaders who respond rather than react inspire trust and confidence. They make decisions based on principles rather than pressures. They model emotional intelligence that others naturally want to emulate. Of course, implementing this practice isn't always easy. In moments of intense emotion, remembering to pause can feel impossible. Start by practicing in low-stakes situations. Notice minor irritations throughout your day and use them as opportunities to practice pausing. Over time, your capacity will grow. The paradox of the deliberate response method is that by slowing down your initial reaction, you actually speed up your progress toward your most important goals. Each thoughtful response builds momentum toward becoming the person you aspire to be. With consistent practice, the gap between stimulus and response will widen, giving you greater freedom to choose calm over chaos in any situation. This growing space becomes your sanctuary of freedom, a place where you reclaim your power from circumstances and exercise your uniquely human capacity for choice. Remember, between stimulus and response lies a space. Master that space, and you master yourself. 7. It develops mental calm. Your mind and body are not separate entities, but parts of an integrated system. The state of your physical body directly impacts your capacity for mental calm. This principle is often overlooked by those seeking emotional mastery, yet it provides one of the most direct pathways to an unshakable mind. When your body is functioning optimally, your threshold for stress increases dramatically, allowing you to maintain composure under pressures that would overwhelm others. John D. Rockefeller, despite building one of the largest fortunes in history and facing intense public scrutiny, lived to the age of 97, largely because he prioritized physical habits that supported mental calm. At the height of his career, when stress threatened his health, he revolutionized his daily routine. He began taking afternoon naps, spending time outdoors daily, and engaging in light physical activity regardless of his demanding schedule. These practices restored not only his health but his mental equilibrium. This connection between physical well-being and mental resilience isn't merely anecdotal. Modern neuroscience confirms that our physiological state creates the foundation upon which our psychological experience rests. A body in distress, whether from exhaustion, inflammation, or nutritional deficiencies, triggers cascades of stress hormones that make calm thinking nearly impossible, regardless of mental discipline. Consider the business executive who prides herself on mental toughness yet subsists on 4 hours of sleep and caffeine. Her perception of resilience is illusion. She's operating at a fraction of her potential while experiencing stress responses far more intense than necessary. Meanwhile, her colleague who prioritizes 8 hours of sleep approaches identical challenges with genuine equanimity, making clearer decisions with less internal turmoil. You can establish your own physical foundation for mental calm by implementing 3 non-negotiable daily practices. First, secure 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, as sleep deprivation dramatically lowers your stress threshold. Second, engage in at least 30 minutes of physical movement that elevates your heart rate, releasing tension from your body and endorphins in your brain. Third, be strategic about your nutrition, minimizing stimulants and processed foods that create internal chaos. When you honor these physical fundamentals, you'll be amazed at how much more mental pressure you can handle with grace and clarity. These practices aren't luxuries, they're prerequisites for those who face significant demands yet wish to maintain inner peace. The ancient Stoics understood this principle, with Epictetus noting that one cannot separate the health of the body from the tranquility of the mind. In modern context, we might call this stress-proofing your nervous system. The beauty of this approach lies in its accessibility. While advanced meditation techniques might take years to master, anyone can improve sleep hygiene tonight. Anyone can take a brisk walk tomorrow morning. These simple physical interventions yield immediate benefits for mental state. Those who implement these foundations often report not just greater calm but enhanced mental performance across all domains. Thoughts become clearer, emotional reactions less volatile, and creative insights more accessible. The noise floor of unnecessary internal distress